Basketball fans, welcome back. So the Basketball Africa League is set to tip off this weekend. It's 2 days away. And through the years I've been covering BAL, there's one thing that I've noticed, and I'm going to highlight it in this video. So this season, the BAL Season 5, I've decided to honor Dikembe Mutombo with a jersey patch. So we'll have Dikembe Mutombo 55 on every jersey for BAL Season 5, because Dikembe Mutombo, he was the Defensive Player of the Year, and he was one of the biggest NBA icons back in the day. So the Basketball Africa League have done tremendous things in 4 seasons. So I remember I started covering them way back in 2021 in BAL Season 1. Even before BAL was a thing, your boy was there covering videos. And all the way to Season 2, covered it successfully, Season 3 and Season 4. And now we have Season 5 upon us, and it's tipping off in the Kalahari Conference. So this is very exciting, and I love it. But there's one thing that I feel BAL will never be able to achieve. And in this one, I'm going to just go ahead and explain it. So BAL is a product of the NBA and FIBA. So being a product of the NBA and FIBA, they're trying to break into the African market. And the African market is so different from the American market. And this is not a fault on BAL or FIBA or the NBA. No, it is not. It's just that the landscape is different. So Africa in itself, they love sports. But when it comes down to even being actively engaged and involved in sports, not all countries are that invested in sports. And I'm going to explain to you why. So you can see the African continent, their basketball is dictated by the independent federations inside every single country in this continent. So let's take the case of my home country, which is Kenya. So we have the Kenya Basketball Federation that makes sure that the league happens and makes sure that there's a champion that is crowned so that they can be able to participate in the Basketball Africa League. So there is a big disconnect between like the federations and the Basketball Africa League. And the best example that I can even mention is what happened in BAL Season 4 with Burundi's Dynamo. So we had an issue with Dynamo and the Basketball Africa League, and to be specific, the Visit Rwanda brand. So Visit Rwanda is a sponsor. It's a sponsor for the Basketball Africa League, and they make sure that they have their logos on every single BAL jersey that is there. So Dynamo took exception to that because Dynamo, they come from Burundi, and Rwanda and Burundi have always had friction. And the Dynamo team were instructed by FEBABU, so that's the Federation for Burundi, to put a patch on the logos that were on the jerseys. And they played like that. And it was in the first game. So there was little jersey compliance when it came to Dynamo and the BL. So it ended up in the Dynamo team being suspended and, quietly removed from the whole BAL conversation completely. So it's that's what happened in BAL Season 4. So you can see there's a disconnect between BAL, the NBA, and the independent federations. That's one. Then the other thing that I noticed was the overall fan engagement when it comes to the Basketball Africa League. Yes, throughout the years, BAL has been able to penetrate and be able to get viewership, but it's not at the viewership that they expect, because given like the whole population in Africa, we are about 1.4 billion people living in this continent, but they're not able to break even when it comes down to people watching, even the advertisements they're going to run. They're not able to get people to even purchase any product that is being sold. Let's take the case of Visit Rwanda. So Visit Rwanda, when they try to sell their brand outside Rwanda, not many people engage with it. So that's the thing, because you can see Africa has been so impoverished to the point where even the purchasing power is difficult. You'll see people trying to get illegal streams to watch FIBA games. But because BAL is yet to make any money, and it's in the same boat as the NBA G League, the WNBA, all that, there's going to be an issue when it comes down to are people paying to watch, because the model that they're running right now is just doing a freemium. So they're putting the games on YouTube, they're putting the games on their websites, so that they can be able to drum up support. They can drum up an audience first before they start putting it on the paywall. And one thing that I've seen with that is a lot of people, even with that being, even with it being free, they're still not watching it. And the reason as to why they're still not watching it is because their purchasing power, if they put it on the paywall, is something that is going to be different. It's not going to happen, because people rarely want to pay for entertainment. I've seen people don't even want to pay for basic like Netflix. They don't want to pay for it. So the other thing is, the Basketball Africa League, there are only 12 teams representing 12 nations out of 54 countries. So you'll have a huge demographic. Let's say, for example, 85% of the teams that are not going to participate, or the nations that are not going to participate in Africa, are not going to watch the Basketball Africa League, because they don't have a horse in the race. Because one thing I've seen is this: I've covered BAL for 4 seasons, and for the 4 seasons, my country, Kenya, have tried with Ulinzi, they have tried with KPA, they failed. But this time they tried with the Thunder, it worked. So what that did was, the people who are Kenyans, the Kenyan citizens, are now interested. The fans who watch the Thunder, who are in Kenya, are now interested in watching BAL. So if a country is not represented there, they're not going to watch it. And if a country is represented there, the fans who are there in their home country are going to watch it. It's rarely you see somebody from, Uganda support a team from Senegal. It's very different. It's very difficult. Even in the Afrobasket, the reason as to why the Afrobasket brings so many countries together is because of the countries that are already there, but not all of them are there, because you had only 20 nations out of 54. So you had another like 34 nations not participating. So even the viewership still drops. The same thing that happens in FIBA is the same thing that happens in BAL. And now the problem with BAL is it's only 12 teams. So the team that the country is representing, they're only going to be supported by the fans only. And it's something that has always been there, because if you look at even the venues that are being selected, I've noticed that when they pick Dakar, Senegal, the purchasing power for somebody who's, for example, let's say, for example, Petro de Luanda is playing in Senegal in the Sahara Conference, for example. You'll rarely see Angolans fly to Senegal to watch those games. Normally, because the flights that are present here in Africa, in the continent, are too little, to the point where they are very expensive. And one thing I have noticed is, when you try to fly within the continent, you'll find out very quickly that you will have to spend a lot of money in flights, hotels, transportation, which is not easy. So if you look at even the Americas and in the European Union, and let me use the America because the NBA hits home. So America, there are so many flights, there are so many domestic flights, and there's no issues, because it's the United States of America. So somebody can fly from California to Texas to Michigan easily, because they don't have, immigrations. They don't have to, even if they have their passport, it doesn't have to get stamped, because they're not doing international flights, it's domestic flights, and there are too many flights, so it's cheaper. So in Africa, the biggest problem is when you want to go and follow a country, or let's say, for example, if I want to fly here from Kenya to Rwanda, it's almost a 1 hour, 30-minute flight, okay? So when you fly there, number one, you have to check their visa. So luckily enough, Kenya, there's no visa for Kenya to Rwanda, so you just fly there, you just get your passport stamped. So that's easy. But let's say, for example, if you want to fly to a country like Morocco, number one, you have to check if the flight is available, if there are flights available. If you have to see if you can book early, if the flight is available, and how much will it cost. You'll find the average cost will be like 170,000 Kenya shillings. That's roughly about $1,200. So you'll see not many people will have the money to be able to pay for that. It's only a few people. So you'll see the fans want to watch the games physically, but they can't. And still, they're not even getting motivated to watch the games online. So you're seeing even the viewership still drop, and they're not able to turn over a profit, because the business model for the Basketball Africa League is to get as much ratings and viewership so that they can be able to sell ads, and the ads have to have a conversion rate so that people can buy, so that the advertisers can use the BAL as the platform to sell. So it is getting difficult because these things are not they're not looked into, because if the BAL were very serious and they wanted people to get involved in games, they will have the local governments involved and the immigration departments involved, allowing people to be able to get visas to travel, to be able to go to these venues. Let's say, for example, Morocco. I want to fly to Rabat, Morocco to watch the BAL. You will see that the flight to Morocco will be expensive if you do a direct flight as opposed to doing a round trip flight. So with a stop. So it's another crazy thing. So fan engagement, physically, people want to watch the games. It is very difficult, and the visa restrictions make it difficult for people to travel in Africa easily. Something that I've seen that is hurting the game directly, because somebody might want to even watch a FIBA game, so and they can't fly there, so they have to watch what is there online. But luckily enough, because that has been an issue, you've seen Courtside 1891 be introduced for FIBA in that case, and you can see BAL doing their thing with their website and the YouTube. So no harm, no foul. People will still be able to watch the games, but they won't be able to enjoy it there physically because of the visa restrictions there. And actually, it's one thing that I've seen is it's actually cheaper for people to watch the games online than even fly there. So people are trying to see that. So one thing that is also hurting BAL with that, because in-game attendance is very important. So if they have like the best online presence and they don't have very good in-game attendance, the ratings will drop. Like they need both. They need both. They need high viewership on the TV, and high viewership in in-game attendance. So that is something that I even saw. Then local advertisements, they're not doing it. I mean, I've not seen a single BAL billboard, even across all continents. A lot of times brands use a traditional way of advertisements. You can see they are doing like billboards. Let's say alcohol. You can see alcohol betting companies use billboards so that they can attract an audience. So you can even see that BAL have not invested time to even budget for billboards for traditional marketing, or even pay for ads in even local media broadcasting companies. Like even in the countries that the teams have qualified, they're not even doing that. I'm yet to see one BAL advertisement. No BAL advertisement has ever been done. So that is actually very concerning, because how do you even capture the casuals? Because not only the you don't even want to capture the diehards, but also the casuals. Because if you can't even capture the casuals, then what are you doing? Because if you can't capture even the casual fan, and the casual fan is the person who is giving you the most money and the most attention and the most publicity, then how are you going to be able to get any return on investment of profit? So those are the things that BAL have to take a hard look at. Their policy and the way they run their policies and how they run their things. Then, not too long ago, about a few weeks ago, we saw BAL in Nairobi. So BAL in Nairobi, it was sponsored by, you saw Hennessy there. So I saw a comment there that was crazy, and I said, let me just highlight it, and it actually made me think differently. So as if you are very keen enough and you see like the NBA, you won't see them sponsoring alcoholic beverages like that. They don't do that much. Even they don't even put them on their jerseys that much. The reason as to why BAL does it is because they don't have any leverage, because they're not able to make any money for themselves. So they'll fall for anything that is there. Hennessy will come and he'll say, you know what, we'll pay you this money so that you can put your name on our jerseys. And because BAL is desperate for money, and the NBA are looking at them like, hey, this is the best offer you can get, just pay for it. Just get that money and just put it there. It won't hurt anything. So the thing that, the indirect thing that draws people away is when you see basketball, which is rated everyone, like even kids watch basketball. So when people see that Hennessy is there, and they say Hennessy is sold to like people who are 18 plus, it's not TV friendly to a lot of people, because when a child sees that and they want to buy that, then they say a small boy or girl playing with a jersey that is written Hennessy. It's not a good look for the African society, and a lot of people do not like that. So that's one thing that I saw somebody make an interesting comment there, and I just said, let me just throw it there. So that was crazy. Then the overall way and reputation in which BAL started with, it had a low note. So you saw what happened in season 1 when the Basketball Africa League saw that it was right to bring in J. Cole to be able to bump up ratings. So this, I even covered it at the time, and it really rubbed me off the wrong way. And a lot of people did not like the fact that J. Cole was put there. Everyone knew that J. Cole cannot play basketball, but they brought him there for ratings. And bringing somebody there for ratings and not understanding that this is not going to help people, follow, is going to backfire. And it did backfire. And you could even see J. Cole even didn't play like 2-3 games, then he left. He said he left for personal reasons. So it was just a clout chase that was that sat poorly with a lot of people, and it led to a massive, dip in their reputation, the BAL reputation. And I mean, that was just adds on to the long list of stupid things that BAL have done, and I've witnessed them firsthand when I was covering. Then the other thing that I've seen is, even in the BAL in Nairobi, before I veered off, I digressed a bit. Even in the BAL in Nairobi, you could see that they did it in a lounge. And BAL in Nairobi, they had Hennessy there as the sponsor. They had all this, they had all the jerseys there. They had, the celebrities there. But you can see that there was no basketball involved in that event. It was just a mixer like any other. And there was no basketball there, because if it was a basketball thing, they would have done it in a big venue. Let's say, for example, they would have leased the Kasarani Indoor Gymnasium. They will have leased that. They set up like the red carpet there, everything. But they did it in a club. So that means when they did, the BAL in Nairobi in a club, that means that, they have a very low budget and they can't be able to even lease a very good venue. I can't say that in full confidence, but I can't say that they don't have the budget to lease anything out. I can't say that in full confidence, but it gave the impression that it's never been about, basketball for these people. They're trying to use it as a way to market, but they're going about it in the wrong way. And I personally feel they're doing much more harm than good for basketball. Then I think last but not least, I can even have it on top of my head, is the merchandise and apparel. So this is a thing that I really ask myself a lot of questions. So a lot of times you'll see people look at BAL jerseys, and they just want to buy one. Let's say, for example, your boy here has been covering BAL for 4 years, and I wouldn't mind even importing or even buying a replica jersey. So buying is not the problem, but the problem is, where do you get it? Where do you get any BAL merchandise? Where do you actually get like a BAL t-shirt, a BAL hat, a BAL replica jersey, wristbands? Where do you get them? So the unfortunate bit is they only sold in the venues where BAL is taking place. That's the only place where I've seen. And it's unfortunate that there's no BAL store in Africa, in all the 54 countries, because if the Basketball Africa League, Africa is a continent which has 54 countries. Even the countries that do not have a BAL team that is representing, BAL have to establish a physical presence there and a store there to sell BAL merchandise. And this one will do wonders, because when you sell BAL merchandise in a country that doesn't have a BAL team, it will force the domestic team to push and say, hey man, we want to play here. So they will want to play. And the reason as to why BAL is finding difficulties in expanding is because they are strained. They cannot hold more than 12 teams. And if BAL was expanding quickly, they will have had more than even 30 teams there in the league. Because if you look at it, in the Americas, you'll have the NBA, and the NBA has 30 teams. So it's gradual. Like the NBA introduced teams gradually into the league to the point where they hit the 30 mark. And even the rumors had it that they are going to Except they are looking for a place where they can have an expansion team. But anyway, this is what it is. So looking at even the Basketball Africa League, they need to do more outreach programs, like sell BAL merchandise, sensitize people about BAL, host BAL workshops even in the most remote places in the continent so that you can show that you're doing a lot of outreach. Don't just focus on countries that have good venues like South Africa, Rwanda, Egypt, and Senegal. Don't just focus on that. You focus on even the other countries that don't have anything. Because if you do that, that will force the people there to wake up and understand, hey, look, we can also do this, we can also do that. Full credit to Kenya getting that bid to host the Elite 16. I mean, your boy here was, working overtime, telling people that, Kasarani is not world class and you need to do better. But anyway, we were able to host it. And it was all thanks to FIBA. And there was no KBF activity involved there. But all I'm just saying is there has to be a BAL store in all the 54 countries. At least sell BAL merchandise there. Even if it's not selling, at least have it there so that somebody can access. Like for me, I would prefer if, let's say, for example, the Nderitu Thunder are playing, I'll have their jersey, I have like their apparel for BAL. So that I can be able to, wear it, I can walk around with it. Why is it easy for somebody to buy a replica NBA jersey, but you can't even find a BAL jersey? Like for me, I have an insane jersey collection. At some point, I even stopped counting because it's how many jerseys I have. But when it comes down to even BAL jersey, I don't have anything. Even not only BAL, but also even the local leagues, you don't even have any of their apparel. But anyway, all I'm just saying is BAL need to establish BAL stores. They have an NBA store. You have to establish BAL stores, mint BAL merchandise, sell the BAL merchandise to countries that have big markets. Let's take, for example, Rwanda. Sell them, start with there. The NBA open their offices in Nairobi. Why not have a BAL store here in Nairobi? A country, every country or any country that has a BAL team have established a BAL store they can sell merchandise there so that people can be able to watch. But anyway, it is what it is. So in this is like roundup. I'm just going off the cuff in this one. I have all these things in my mind, and that's the reason that's why I'm able to flow easily. So it is what it is. So do drop me a comments down in the comment section below on what you think I've missed, and I'm gonna talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.